Is $100,000 enough to live the American dream anymore? Well, there's been an ongoing debate about what $100,000 is anymore, if that magical six figures is your number. What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. So, I, like many other people, six figures was that number, right? I remember starting in my career and it's like, if I could just get to six figures, like I'm good, I'm set. And then you get there and it's kind of like, where is my money going? And, a lot of people could sit there and say, hey, that's first world problems. And it is, because obviously when I started my career, I think the average income was about 51,000 or whatnot. And it's actually kind of gone up to 59,000. But that is what we are going to discuss today. Is $100,000 enough to make you feel rich? Is that the gold standard anymore? And ultimately, y'all, I think a lot of people get to $100,000 and then, you feel great about yourself because let's face it, you are in the top 20% of income earners. Only 18% of people make $100,000 in a year. And so, that is something to be proud of because you are severely in the top echelon of the country. You more than likely had to do some particular type of training, or you have developed a skill set that has gotten you to those numbers. So it is something to be proud of. But can you actually feel rich on $100,000 anymore? And there's a couple different things, right? I think a lot of people get to $100,000 and they think they're rich, right? And so it's like the old saying, it's not about how much money you make, it's about how much money you can keep. And the lifestyle creep really does catch a lot of people. Now, you're not immune to the lifestyle creep once you get to 100,000. There's people that have the lifestyle creep from going from 50 to 60,000 or 60 to 80,000, right? And the lifestyle creep, again, is when you start making more money, and now, instead of the Toyota Camry, now you get a BMW 5 Series, or you get, a new car, and you go out and you just continue to compound your expenses. And now the extra money that you were making puts you at a break-even point from what you were making before. So is $100,000 enough anymore? It really does depend. If you are a single individual that, really, you could probably live anywhere in the country, and $100,000, you're going to really feel pretty comfortable. Even in places like New York, California, where the cost of living has obviously risen dramatically. Now you start throwing other things into the mix. Do you have kids? Right? Do you have dependents? Because, I have 3 kids of my own. And let me tell you, the biggest expense is definitely going to be kids, childcare, food after that. And so when you get to that $100,000 mark, now sometimes it's not about living above your means. It's about just providing the necessary essentials that you need for your children. Now, I caveat that because there's a lot of families who've done a lot less with a lot less money, and have turned out fine. Their kids are fine and everything like that. I think most of us get to this point where we have an imagination of what our standard of living was going to be once we got to that 100,000 mark, or whatever that number is that's in your head. And ultimately, y'all, no matter how much money you're making, you are not absolved from math, right? You have to bring in more than you're putting out. And it's very easy to get behind on things. It's very easy to get in credit card debt and just start spending and living above your means because you're making a lot of money, right? But what happens when you lose that salary, or you lose a job, or things that happen in your life that are sometimes uncontrollable? And, ultimately $100,000 is a great salary, but is it enough that's going to get you that white picket fence anymore? It may not be. But it is all about how you use that money, right? Are you keeping your expenses low? If you're someone who was making 50,000 and now you're making 100,000, if you kept your expenses the same way that you've done for when you were making 50,000, you're in great shape. You've been investing probably, you've been saving, you've been doing all the necessary things that you need to make that $100,000 really make an impact in your life, right? But there's a lot of people, don't think that making six figures just absolves you from anything, because there's a lot of people out there that make 200, that make 300, but they spend 250, 350. And so they're in no better situation than the person who makes $40,000 a year and is strapped for cash, right? They have bigger income, right? A bigger shovel, as Dave Ramsey would say. But you'll see a whole bunch of people that call into his show and they have the same issues that everybody else has. They're living paycheck to paycheck. They don't know how they're spending all this money. And ultimately, y'all, as somebody who was in that scenario, right, who was living paycheck to paycheck, who was in this scenario where I didn't know where my money was going, a budget is going to be the best thing that you could ever do for you, yourself, your family. You know, it's ultimately going to show you, okay, where's my money going? How much money am I bringing in? How much money can I go out? And this is in no means a way to say, don't treat yourself, right? Don't go out and live life. Life is short, right? But you also have to understand that everything comes at a cost, right? So when you're spending money and you're just, everything is going out, the cost that you're doing is you're costing yourself your future, right? If you're not investing or not putting money aside to save for those emergencies, you're costing yourself what your future is. And quite simply, a lot of you guys are gonna hate this answer, but $100,000 is enough. Is it enough to be a sole income provider and raise a family of 5? That might be a little tough. However, it's still doable, because only 30% of the American population's household makes over $100,000. So there's a lot of room for some personal responsibility on, hey, oh my God, Brian, I'm living paycheck to paycheck. Okay, what's your car? How much are you paying for your car? I mean, the average car payment has went from $400 to $700 a month. And you can sit here and say, oh, it's inflation, it's this, it's that. But no, we take accountability over here. And it's not just inflation. It's about the fact that people want to go out and get the new bells and whistles. They want to get the new car, right? I think buying a new car is probably the worst financial mistake you can make in your life. Now, some people will disagree. Some people can agree. But the bottom line is, the moment you drive off that lot, you've depreciated that vehicle immensely, versus buying a vehicle that's 3 to 4 years old, that's taken the brunt of the depreciation hit. And now you can actually make a more sound purchase when you're actually buying the vehicle, not have it depreciate substantially when you actually go to sell the vehicle. So, there's some different articles here, right? So in this article, they say the only way to stop it is to be conscious of it happening. It comes down to a simple concept of paying yourself first. And that's what I talked about, investing, right? You have to pay yourself first. It comes down to making that budget, see what's coming in, see what needs to go out, right? And then at that point in time, you can look at your wants. You can look at the things that you want to enjoy and see if you have that money in the budget. If you don't, then unfortunately you cannot enjoy it at that point in time. Or maybe that's part of your paying yourself first, that you're saving for that vacation. You're saving for that luxury item that you've been wanting to buy. So it all is about sacrifice, y'all. We get too hopped up in Instagram and all this other crap that we want the newest things. We want to keep up with the Joneses. But I'm here to tell you, y'all, like, if you budget effectively and you're conscious about the decisions that you're making with your money, you can change your life financially. You can live a comfortable lifestyle, and it doesn't take $100,000 to do it, right? Now, some people's picture may look a lot prettier than others, right? Some people, may get to enjoy the fruits of their labor a lot sooner from having a higher substantial income, right? But at the end of the day, that's why I love numbers so much, because numbers don't lie, right? This is our budget for what we can spend on housing. This is our budget for what we can spend on a car. This is our budget on, hey, this is the food, this is how many times we can eat out, right? Hey, I'm one of them. We get Uber Eats, Grubhub, all this stuff. And I'm talking to my wife, I'm like, babe, we gotta rein this in, because you get carried away. It gets crazy. So trust me, I'm not here pointing the finger and saying, oh, I'm better. We're all guilty of this stuff, right? But to really be able to make not even just 100,000, but to make your salary work for you, you have to be conscious about where your money is going, where your money is going, how much money you're bringing in, how much money you're setting aside for yourself, for your future, and what your necessities are, right? Not what your wants are, but what your necessities are. So just wanted to talk about that. I still think $100,000 is enough money to live, right? To live lavishly? No, but to live, raise a family, it's still tough, but at the end of the day, y'all, we can't make excuses. Like, you're making a substantial amount more than the average American, and obviously it's going to depend on geographic location, the amount of children you have, if you're bringing in 2 incomes versus 1, things of that nature. All those factors are going to play into it, right? So $100,000 in Birmingham, Alabama is not going to be $100,000 in New York. So, but at the end of the day, the math still needs to make sense for you to have a comfortable lifestyle. So drop your comments below. Let me know what you think. Is $100,000 the milestone anymore? Is that the cherry that people are really chasing? And if it's enough to actually live on anymore? Love to have your thoughts in the comments section. Go ahead, subscribe to the channel, and I'll talk to you guys on the next one. The future I see is up to me. Take care.